basically allowed them to walk right in and get an uplink for themselves. Now, the only saving grace where they wouldn't have to worry about that would be the far southern uplink spawn, as that changes up the playstyle a little bit. But I'm going to be honest, I would imagine that the beginners have a plan for that too. But we'll take a look at it. As it is, I think the same uplink point we started on back in the last time we were on Downfall. If not, it's one of the ones that's very close to it. So I would imagine the same general strategy can still be employed here by the beginners as they're going to start on attack.
And how much can be done here for the beginners in terms of how they split it up this time around?
It's obviously going to be a little bit quiet here on Downfall. If you hadn't heard us talk about it before, this is by a pretty large margin the biggest map in the game currently. It's one of the few maps where things like DMR and bolt-action rifles actually become viable just due to the range that's at play. Not on here, but on Quarantine, one of our other very big maps. We saw the first ever bolt-action kill that we caught on stream here in the VRL for Onward. It was about a week or two ago. It was actually a pretty big deal to catch that. But this time, it's not looking like, at least on the loadouts we've seen so far, that we're going to be seeing any DMR bolt action just yet. But if you see one of the attackers kind of holding back when the rest of the team is pushing, that's a good indication that a player is taking on that role, or something very similar to it with an AR, just with a longer range scope on it.
Oh, Mousecraft getting himself taken out early on there. Icy Woods long ranging it up, managing to get the job done, starting off with that first kill. Kev's also been working his way around the south, and you can see already the pinch starts to happen. Initial kill goes down, Loyaldogs are down one player, which means beginners will start to work their way around here and really try and close them in. Kev again playing from Valley. Just wanted to make sure he's keeping the pressure on, firing off a few shots, keeping them at bay, and also making sure he's got the attention of Loyaldogs to allow the rest of his teammates to rotate round.
He's going to continue to hold and wait to see if he can capitalize on any mistakes the Loyaldogs may tend to make. And besides that, continue to play things relatively slowly here. Not that giant formation towards the north that we had seen in previous rounds of them back in the last match we caught the beginners playing on versus the Vikings. It's much more split up. An attempt to potentially pincer the village here and push from the south and the north at the same time. Kev, however, been able to strike next, finding it down. Not a full kill against Donnie. And at the range these kills are happening, it is possible we could see Donnie get res back up. Without knowing where he is, though, it's going to be a little bit hard to tell if Loyaldogs actually try to go for that.
And there's some huge range on that. Kev, again, still playing from around this valley, so he's looking at the long distance kills. The matter of fact, he was able to get it down on top of causing the distraction here. You see the instant reaction from beginners, they push up even closer.
Gary, in the meanwhile, is going to try to move himself, like I said, into a much closer position against the members of the beginners. It's still making some calls from up on top too, as it does seem like he's taken Overwatch position. More importantly, long-range Overwatch for this entire village. That tower he's sitting on is much more elevated when compared to the rest of the surrounding map. So he can generally get a pretty good idea if someone from Loyaldogs tries to move between buildings or takes up a window position, and can call that out to his teammates without any risk of being discovered. Obviously, due to just how far away he is. No problems making those calls out onto the radio whatsoever. But I think since we're so far into the round now, they do need to put a little bit more power into this push, and especially with the loss of Icy Woods, eventually can still res him up, of course, they are going to probably move Woods 43 into position to push with the rest of the team, since they've only got about 2 minutes left.
Now the revive has come in. Donnie's going to be brought back to life, which gives them 4 players to work with here. Beginners have done the same on their down player as well, so we're in a 5v4 still, remains the same. Finally, Wood's starting to make his way around it. He was up towards the North Hotel, starting to push his way in. Donnie's gone back down, and instantly Kev's been able to strike as well. Great start here from the beginners, and Loyaldogs are heavily under pressure with just 2 players left remaining.
Swarming the point as quickly as they can now due to the lack of time. The south flank is also going to start moving in over the next few seconds. Kev may not realize it yet, but he's got another opponent just in the building below him. The question is, does his opponent realize it? He's not really too well aware of the situation that's currently unfolding. Oh, Killinger, he's going to go for it again. He can't take up position on the inside, but no, he's going to be found out this time. The AK-12 pickup from Pichu Power knocks him out. Gary also finds another kill. The beginner is still with a man advantage, but only a minute to capitalize on this now and take out the last 2 Loyaldogs members, one of which is sitting right below Kevin Smoils, and they haven't seemed to realize it just yet. Woods will find Gary. Now it's the manhunt to find this last player, literally right below Kev, but he hasn't seemed to have noticed it. Pichu Power, let's see how long he can sit in this corner.
And this is the crazy thing is, right, Loyaldogs were in such a disadvantage there, but beginners, they pushed in, they wanted to get the close off early. Killinger wanted to get the uplink, and it actually cost them so much. Pichu gets found though, beginners run around the corner. Loyaldogs stayed alive as long as they could with 30 seconds remaining, but beginners get the first point.
Not gonna lie, I really was hoping we could see like a 007 closeout from Pichu Power there, or like they just over-focus on killing him instead of instead of trying to go for an uplink, and he just like hides in a corner, just runs around the building and is able to evade them for 40 seconds.
Like, you can't catch me. I'm going to be playing cat and mouse.
It would have been another fun little clip to get for some of our top 5 highlights, of course, but does not end up happening. They move outside of the building quickly, swarm it to find Pichu Power, and again, we'll see the beginners. Obviously, much closer close at that time.
Yeah.
The first round we saw them play against the Vikings, but still getting the job done ultimately, and that'll put them ahead 1-0 now.
I think beginners will be a little bit more cautious next time around because they had a 5v4. They pushed in, they got the opening kills. There's only 2 players left alive for Loyaldogs. And then where they went for the uplink kill, Killinger went down. And then Chaos started to kind of come into play, and they losing members and thinking, oh, wait a second, now we need to be a little bit more cautious because they could have been quickly turned around. All it would have taken is a couple of well-placed shots.
So we'll see if the guys on Loyaldogs are going to be able to bring this back into their favor, now that they will take on the attacking mantle, or if things will continue to play into the beginners' favor. It's into round number 2, guys. The beginners will take defense on the same uplink. Loyaldogs will spawn in a different spot on the attacking side. We'll see if they can bring this back now.
Yeah, up towards the north to start things off with the Loyaldogs as they'll try to push him. Beginners getting the smoke down early on here, providing some cover. How are Loyaldogs going to approach this? Already, Gary's gone down instantly from Woods. Very nice long range as well. Not what Loyaldogs would have wanted whatsoever here.
Certainly not the case, and certainly not only 20 seconds into the round, that's for sure. Managing to catch him before he, I think, can even get into a covered position.
Yeah. I was just looking, they didn't even get to split up, right? They're still all pretty much together up towards the north. Kev started off as well, and this is not looking good for Loyaldogs. The aggression is being taken towards them, and beginners, they're the ones delivering all the damage thus far.
Beginners turning this into a shooting gallery real quick here. Loyaldogs need to watch out, or at least start to use some utility to cover themselves. Another player getting picked, Mousecraft, peeking a little bit too far out to the side from his building. He's going to get picked in less than a minute into the round. Beginners have already been able to take out 3 out of 5 of the attacking players.
Someone might want to remember that actually beginners are on the defending side here. They've just come out, waiting for Loyaldogs to go into position and pick them apart.
Pichu, I think, just barely saving his life by doing a quick drop to the ground. We can see, I believe it was ec Woods trying to take some shots at him and nearly connecting onto it. Donnie, meanwhile, has been able to work his way back. He's going to try to scavenge some loot from his fallen teammate. See what there is to be picked up, or maybe if he's got a longer range scope or something to work with here, he can try to leverage that. But so far, this has been all beginners. Not a single valid response from the Loyaldogs in this round.
And that's it, Loyaldogs haven't even been able to challenge it. Another down comes in, Woods 4-3 from the same position, able to get the job done. Now Donnie's got a real tough little bit of work to do here.
Got the scope for it, though. Longer range optics is going to be a default, just a standard M4, though. So won't provide any... Oh, what's this?
Why not?
Bit of a...
Just throw it out there.
Let's just light up the
Flare it
party,
up.
you know?
Make sure he knows that we're coming for you.
Or it just makes it more difficult for him to aim, just because that flare is going to be in his vision pane, so it may force him to move. And this is like the field of death to exactly where he's going right now. Oh, this is not going to be good. The good news is he's being smart about it. He is falling back further before attempting to cross that divide, and it may try to go for a res against Pichu, if he can even find him, that is.
And the thing is, well, I can't really be critical of what Loyaldogs tried to do because they didn't get a chance to do anything. They were only just getting to their positions, only starting to do the initial movements at the beginning of the round before they'd already lost 2 players.
And unfortunately, it's not looking like Donnie is going to be able to find the position of Pichu, let alone actually work his way all the way out to the north to go for the res on him. Doesn't really have the time, to be completely honest, on top of just the general lack of intel, as Loyaldogs probably don't have a whole lot going into their favor here. They've been just slowly picked off one by one, not really with any chance to give any call-outs or any type of intel. So Donnie is really flying blind in a 1v5, and that's definitely not going to be the most winnable situation in the playoff. Of this, in fact, could be the end right here as he starts to push his way into the open. There we go, though. Oh, the M16. Nice headshot against ec Woods. He's going to attempt to marksman his way across, but won't work. He's too far in the open. Dr. Killinger picks up the final frag, and the beginners take a clean round number 2.
A dominant round there from beginners from start to finish. And I think for Loyaldogs, they're going to be thinking, okay, we didn't even get a chance to put ourselves in position. You saw them, they were all grouped up, heading towards the north, just coming around the north approach, looking at the ridge there. And actually, if you compare it to what the beginners did, they split up, right? We had 2 down towards the south, 1 up in the north, 2 holding on to the middle area. Loyaldogs didn't even get a chance to really get anywhere. They just moved forward a little bit, and the firefight was being taken directly to them. Very confident from beginners, though, to do that, because that could have easily worked against them.
That's what beginners are going to do against a team like Loyaldogs that unfortunately doesn't have such a high-tier reputation in the scene so much as of yet. They're going to try and play aggressive. They're going to try and get in their face and shut them down before they can formulate anything, because they have that confidence, just from a reputational standpoint, going against a team like this.
It's a whole thing of like, okay, you guys think you can challenge us? No, we're going to show you why we are the dominant force. We're going to ruin your confidence.
Well, let's see if beginners can ruin the Loyaldogs one more time here. They're back on the attack. The uplink has moved to, I believe, the furthest south position it can spawn at. So a lot of focus is going to be on this canyon just to the right of where our camera was positioned at a moment ago. That is where the beginners will have to make the majority of their push. It does seem like they're actually going to try to play into the village a little bit, though, to the north. Most teams I've seen try to play into the canyon primarily and focus their push there. But that's also what the defense tends to play at. They tend to kind of hyper-focus on that southern canyon. So moving into the village is going to be a nice way to also play this. I mean, look at this. The beginner's already sneaking one player way over to the west. He's already entered the primary, you know, cluster of buildings in the village, and it's just a matter of getting him in position to strike.
Already a huge difference in approach here between beginners and Loyaldogs. We've got one player all the way over towards Tank House working his way down south. Playing the long distance, long range position. One player's pushed right up close though. He's got himself over towards the north washed area. Slow and steady may win the race here, but Loyaldogs, they're all focused in around just one or two positions. Heavily focused on that uplink, and Woods 4-3 once again starting off strong, gets himself the opening kill, and Mousecraft didn't even have a chance to react.
Fortunately not, just too far into the open once again. Woods will capitalize upon that positioning with a quick frag against him. And now leaves Loyaldogs with 4 players standing. Woods 43 seems to have found another mark here, trying to capitalize upon. I think he's off it though. Might have seen something that's not actually there, as it looks like he was spraying at the cobblestone wall instead of the upper windows where you've got a few players from Loyaldogs' position. It's a great distraction though. It's going to allow him to push up very far into the village now, with Kev also finding another kill against Pichu Power. Woods 43's brother, Icy Woods, finds Donnie, and it just seems like once again this is falling apart way too quickly. Woods 43 has completed his flank. A fast headshot on Gary takes him out, and it's down to only one man standing now for the Loyaldogs.
The Woods brothers putting in work. Icy Woods 4 kills so far overall in this match. Beginners in a 5v1.
Oh no.
He's all alone, he's pinned down.
This is my house, and I'm gonna die inside of it, basically. They know where he is.
Smoked out of it as well.
They know exactly where he's at. If he tries to leave, he's a dead man. If he tries to peek a window, also a dead man. And there you go. Tries to peek the window, and he is indeed a dead man. Woods 43 picks up the final frag as the Woods brothers dominate throughout the course of that matchup. And overall, the beginners, once again, uncontested. That is a perfect tournament for them.